Alright, I'm going to do something I love doing. I know a lot of you people like watching. Water jugs and wood versus. So what do I have today? 357 Magnum versus 45 Auto. I'm going to see what it'll do. The water jugs lined up and the 2x4s, and I got some paper magazines I'm going to shoot. And we'll see what happens when I compare the 357 Magnum to the 45 automatic. Guns fired, Smith & Wesson 686 with a 4-inch barrel, and the Glock 36 with only a 3.7-inch barrel. Now I know a lot of you internet ballistics trolls are about to have a heart attack. My response is calm down, calm down. This 45 auto is a very warm 45 auto, and I've taken that into account. You're probably out there saying, that's not a 5-inch. You can't use that, it's not a 5-inch. So in response to that, what I'm using is 200 grain plus P gold dots. And the ballistics on these are actually warmer out of this gun than many standard pressure 45 autos are out of a 5-inch barrel. So I got this information from Alaskan Ballistics. He's one of my subscriptions and subscribers, and a lot of cool stuff on his channel, so I highly recommend checking him out. But he tested this round out of a Glock 30, which has the exact same 3.7-inch barrel, and he had an average of 1,017 feet per second, or 459 foot-pounds of energy. So this will very adequately represent the 45 automatic, even out of a gun like this. Next round I'm going to use for the 357 Magnum. This is the Federal C357B. It is rated at 1,440 feet per second. And out of this gun, ballistics by the inch has it at 1,436 feet per second. Only a loss of 4 feet per second versus what's listed. I believe this is the actual gun that they test these ballistics out of anyway at the factory. 572 foot-pounds of energy. So you got 459 versus 572, about 100 foot-pounds energy more with the 357 Magnum. But it is also a 125 grain bullet, and the 45 is a big old 200 grain bullet. So that may play a little bit into this. So on with the test. Let's see what we get when we do 357 Magnum versus 45 Auto into water jugs, wood, and paper magazines. So here we go. Alright, first up I'm going to do the 45 Auto with that gold dot plus P. And 6 water jugs. I'm not going to put denim on the front. I don't think that's necessary for this type of test, but just to see what this hot 45 Auto will do to these water jugs. So here we go. Wow, I'm absolutely saturated. One, that blew that apart. 2, a hit on the 3rd jug centered. Alright, so there's a dent in jug 4 and a little bit of dent out of jug 3 out the back. And what we got out of that, other than being soaked, is jug 3. We got this massively expanded, beautiful hollow point. That's a good 80 caliber at this point. Amazing. It's a very beautiful hollow point. That is some serious energy transfer. And Jugs are about 6 inches deep, so almost came out of the jug 3. That's exactly about 18 inches of water. I don't know how that compares to ballistics gel, but as far as water goes, I went through about 18 inches of water and expanded beautifully. Let's go on to the 357 Magnum. Alright, now I have the 357 Magnum, the 686 with that Federal. Full house, 125 grain load. This exact load and the Remington clone of it are what law enforcement carried for a long time. That 96% one-shot stop on those charts is from loads like this out of a barrel like this long. So we'll see what we get. Water jugs. Here we go. Oh my gosh, just as wet, maybe worse. I only see 5 jugs. The 6th one went flying forward. There's nothing left of that. About as bad as the 45. Set this thing down. Have to dry that off. 1, 2. Looking pretty similar so far. 3. There's a hole in 3. And we're leaking. I don't feel a dent out the back of jug 3. I think the bullet's in here. Oop. The bullet's in there, I'll find it in a second. Okay. All I got with that I can find is the core. Not much there. And a fragment. So that means all the rest of the fragments of that round, I don't know where they're at. At least 2/3 of that bullet, maybe half that bullet, maybe instead. Fragmented out. They're probably, I don't know where. But this is what you're looking at with like first couple of jugs. So you don't got much bullet left. With the 45, you do have the whole bullet left. Does that mean that this is better? No. I wouldn't want to get shot with either of these. This would be a surgeon's nightmare. This would be pretty bad too, but at least it's intact. So, water jugs, that's what you get between these two. So let's go onto the wood and see what happens. Alright, now I'm going to go into the wood test with the 45. Got 4 2x4s lined up. I'm going to hit it square where there's no knots. See what we get with this 45 plus P. Here we go. That knocked her right over, didn't it? Got a nice centered hit where I wanted. No exit. We'll go on to the 357 and see how that does. So here's the 357 Magnum versus the wood. Pretty nice. Obviously no exits. Before I cut that open, I'm going to hit the paper magazines and see what happens. Alright, here's the 45 versus magazines. Goodbye. Alright. Alright, onto the 357 Magnum. Yeah. So let's take a look. Alright, let's cut this wood open. .357 up here, 45 down lower. So let's see what we got. Well, so far, what I'm seeing is pretty similar. Back of board 1, the 357, the 45, 357 on the second board, 45. What I'm seeing here is actually it looks like a little bit more damage with that 357 Magnum. A little bit. Board 2. What we got here is no pass-throughs. 45, 357. But with the 357, it's starting to come out the second board. The 45, there's nothing on the back. And on the third board, there's a big dent with the 357 Magnum. Nothing on the one with the 45, obviously. But the 45 did crack the board, which the 357 did not. So I'm going to cut this open and we'll see what we got. Okay, I was able to split this open. Second board here. It's a 45, 357 mag. And what we got in here is, just like the third board suggests, it's slightly more penetration with that 357 Magnum. The 45 stopped roughly exactly halfway through. The 357 Magnum, you can actually see it. This is the back of the second board. It's almost penetrating back through the back of that second board. It's still embedded there pretty well. So if I can do it like this, this is what we got. Halfway through second board, the 45, almost out the back with the 357. And just like the water jugs, there isn't much there I can dig out. It's really chewed up with that 357 Magnum. And the 45 looks like it's still intact with some wood in the hollow point. So this is what I'm getting with these two cartridges, these two calibers for the wood. Now let's look at these magazines. And you probably saw it on video. Oh man, the 45, it's in there, I believe. With that 357 Magnum though, it's not going to be in there. I blew right through all of them. So maybe I can find the 45. Here's the 45. It's about 2/3 of the way through that pack. Looks pretty much the same as it does in the wood. So what you're getting here is recovered bullets from the 45. All of them are recovered. Even though it's hitting with a lot of energy, there's a lot of bullet there. And we're recovering all the bullets. With the 345s, cover them all. No problem. All we got with that 357 is this little fragment here. And then this fragmented piece that's inside the wood. So that's the difference between, they're both hitting with a lot of power, both have a lot of stopping power, but there's a little bit of difference on the end result of what's happening. All I can say is I wouldn't want to get hit with either of them. Both are pretty devastating. I don't know if the fact that one fragments or not makes a difference. The only time I really did see a huge difference though is when you shoot water, it seems as if the 45 has a little bit more penetration. That would kind of suggest if you shot like a living tissue, that particular 45 might have a little bit more penetration than that 357 when it hits fluid. But when it comes to hitting hard barriers, you can consider this paper hard and the wood hard. It seems as if the 357 Magnum does penetrate a little bit more through hard barriers. And that is why it was designed in the 1930s, was to punch through car doors, try to stop some gangsters and whatnot. The 45 couldn't really do it, but the 357 could. So that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing more of a hard barrier penetration with that 357 Magnum. But on fluids, well, that's kind of a toss-up what you're getting there. Probably a little bit more tissue damage and devastation with that 357 Magnum in my opinion. But with a good quality hollow point 45, might be pretty darn close. So that's what you get with these 357 versus 45 auto water jugs wood magazine, and you be the judge to decide what you think is better for you. So anyways, these are the two top dog calibers, the ones that are up there, really high stopping power, known for their stopping power. And one against the other, that's what you get. So thanks for watching.